Alright, I've got two new things to show you here. We have some new exterior walls for both oxygen rooms and for security rooms, so let's take a closer look. So I've got some of our little dudes in here. Let's get them out of the way. So we normally have our doorways, our corners that clip on, and our exterior walls normally look something like this. Right, and they have a gray wall, and we have some gray blues in here. So we get this to focus in on that. With some gray blues that go in here, and we have these pieces that go on the outside. And if I put one of these exterior walls into here, it has a kind of a gray look. There we go. And but I wanted to give a little bit more thematic to the security room. And another thing that we realized is that we can actually extend these walls out a little bit, make them a little bit wider, and give a little bit of extra room space in these rooms. Because again, one of the issues with Zombicide Invader is that sometimes the rooms get a little bit can get pretty full of guys. So in this one here, we've got a little setup here, and I'm actually missing one of the screens. And these are all printed in parts, and they kind of glue together. There's a little cavity here. I drew there with a marker to give it the impression that there might be something on those screens. A little extra detail. And so it's printed in a red solid piece with these little screen bits and these veneers that go on the top, and it has the same look on the outside as the exterior walls. And as you can see, when I put that in, it gives a little bit of extra room space in the room, a little bit of extra space for your monsters. They have space they can stick their arms and their appendages that stick out. So the security room comes with a Conator console. This is just to kind of give it the same sort of impression with the artwork. And you put little bits of plastic in behind here. You can, if you want to get really crazy, you could actually print out something like a little computer screen and put it behind the plastic. And this one here is the weapons locker, and those are all printed in, and they're just touched up with a little bit of black marker. I use these black premium ink pens. Sharpie will work. Sharpies tend to bleed a little bit more on PLA, and they are printed in white bits like that. That's a sniper rifle and a shotgun and a bunch of pistols, and they just slide right in there. And so there's a couple of different options for these. Different weapon lockers. So as your guys come into, as your teams come into the rooms, security rooms are where the soldier class can get their weapons and gear. And so if this is an exterior wall, it protrudes a little bit further outside. If I was to connect this up to another set of walls, as I have a set over here, like that. And I need another floor. And if we were to connect another floor in here like that, you can see that these walls do stick out a little bit further than a normal exterior wall would stick out. But it doesn't impact a great deal, because these exterior spaces on the Zombicide boards, there's lots of space on the exteriors, and there doesn't tend to be a ton of monsters on the exteriors either. So this way we can make our themed room for security a little bit nicer. And we'll just take these out of the way here for a second. And another themed room that we have, you can see that's pretty solid. I can pick that all up as one piece. All these magnets are sort of like helping hold it all together. This one is for the oxygen room. I only have one variation for the oxygen room, but we have these tanks on the wall and a little bit of a little generator thing here. So that's kind of pumping your oxygen, and that's filling your tanks. So when your team needs to go outside of the oxygen room, they would be able to do that. And again, it just, a typical room would just show the difference. Typical standard room would sort of give that much width, and if I take that out and switch in this, see, I gain a little bit of extra width in the room, a little bit extra size, and I get the nice thematic look here. So these guys can kill this dude here, this creepy looking guy, and get the oxygen, get outside, and try to win the game. So yeah, those are the two new themed walls that are made to go with the security room respectively, and the oxygen room. So there's a couple of modifications I want to make to these for the test print. These pieces here, these little hex pieces, will probably become something that says oxygen on it, and be more of a solid piece, probably a little bit more in the design like the airlock, right, with a more of a panel that kind of says what it is. And that'll make it a little bit easier to print. And these ones are done with press fit magnets, but we also probably want a version of these that go together with so that you can put your magnets in your spherical magnets. So there'll be like a two-part system like this, which clips together like the regular walls do. But regardless, it all clips together anyways. And I guess in theory you could connect those two rooms up like that. And your little buttress piece that goes on the outside, I don't have one handy here at the moment, but there's little buttress pieces that cover the caps that cover these exterior walls. They just slide right in there. They fit in perfectly. There's enough space for them. So that's it. That's where we've got our new thematic oxygen room and our thematic security room. And oh, the one last thing, these will be made, like everything, these pieces will be made in one solid printable piece. This is actually printable when it's fully merged. It's fully printable without supports, and so you just print it on the build plate. So if you don't want to go to the hassle of putting all these pieces together like the model kit, you just want it to be one color, maybe you want to paint it, or maybe you just prefer it to be one color, you can do it that way. And these will all be set up so like these supports under here, the bridging, this will print fully upright. These little windows will be they'll be the screens will be all put in there. And probably what we'll do is we'll print this one fully upright, but leave the square open. So you just print these weapons, because those weapons tend to print better going vertically. We'll also throw in, don't think I have, oh yes, I do have one handy here. We have some little these little security lockers, and they have little dry goods inside them. So we can make some of those that you can have to like kind of spruce up the place as well too. And there's one there that's got some guns in it as well too. So you can also find another room, a locker full of guns. You can just throw them into a room if you want to. Give your room a little bit more thematics, or whatever you like. It's up to you. Really, you can glue them. You can glue them onto another wall if you feel like there's a wall here you wanted to glue this on. So I could glue this onto the back here, like that, and that would be fine. That would go up in any other room, and it would just connect right to get into the floor plane. Just need to make sure you glue it high enough that it has enough clearance for the floor. So like glue it kind of like there. To make sure it'll pass over all the floors. Magnets they're a little bit forgiving. They kind of pull into place, so you really, it'd be pretty hard to kind of totally screw that up. There you go. Give it a little bit more themes. But on the other hand, now I'm losing space. So, you always got this trade-off of how much space do you have in your room and how many zombies are you going to have. You know what I mean? Like get a couple of the big fatties in there and get the abomination in there, and before you know it, you've got a lot of things sticking out. So you got to have good space management. All right, so these will be going out to the test printers, and these will be included in the Z-Walls pack.